Hello, this is Caitlin here, and I'm going to start us off with our curriculum compacting presentation. So we want to be thinking about the students in our class who might need compacting. So how do we spot these students? You've probably seen them in your classroom. They're the students who consistently finish tasks early. Oftentimes they'll kind of appear bored or be playing games. Often they ask advanced questions that are above the level of normal students in the class. During individual projects, we will often see other students asking them for help. We also see them using the vocabulary of the topic in advanced ways. So, if we know that we have these students in our class, how do we show that they have mastered the material and that they are ready for compacting? Before we get started discussing this, I want you to think about your own classroom. How have you pre-tested in the past? What are some other ways that you document student mastery, such as portfolios, summaries, and so on? And then how do we determine mastery for a topic? How do we know if a student has mastered a topic or a subject? The first thing we want to do is we want to identify the objectives that we are teaching. These are some questions to help you think through your objectives. What information requires formal or direct instruction? Often this is the information that is completely new to students. What information could they do their own research on? And then what information will require them to have multiple opportunities to practice? After we've thought through our objectives, we can start designing our pre-assessment. When we're thinking about our pre-assessment, we want to address misconceptions, so it can be helpful to think about what misconceptions there are before we start our topic. What problems might students run into when learning this material? Maybe it's really abstract. What vocabulary is associated with this topic? And again, what is mastery? Do students need to know all the vocabulary? Should they be able to master every single question before we allow them to compact, or do they just need to show a general understanding? Some sources of pre-assessment that you could use besides just a normal pre-test are student portfolios. We could look at their math and reading levels. You can talk to their parents. They would often have insight into what students already know about a topic. If you have gifted specialists at your school who often work with these students, you can also talk to them. And then other academic records that show they might be ready to move on and are working at an advanced level. There are also performance-based pre-assessments. Here are some ideas that you could use in your classroom besides just giving a test. You could have students write a persuasive essay explaining how they know the topic and are ready to move on. They could create a short portfolio that shows that they already understand the topic. You could have them design a lesson or make a presentation about the topic. You can observe them taking notes. Are they writing down higher level thoughts? You could ask them to write discussion questions. Often, if they are asking higher level questions, they are ready to move on. Or you could ask students to respond to an open-ended question to see their thinking about a particular topic and if they have shown some mastery. Stop and think. How could you decide if a student in your classroom is ready for compacting? Think of a topic that you teach and you could write out one question that you could use on a pretest. For example, before my chemistry unit, I could ask my students to draw an atom and label the parts. This would show me if they understand basic vocabulary, the basic structure of an atom, and would give me almost all of the information I would need to know to see if they were ready to compact. If they could do these things, I would know that they are ready to compact on my basic chemistry unit and that they could move on to something more difficult for them. Here are the resources that we used for determining effective pre-assessment.
Really? Hey, just tell them if they ask. Just tell them the reason you sleep so much is because you have so many dreams. Hey, hang on. Hey, it's Caitlin. Let me call you back. All right. Hey, Caitlin, what's going on?
Yeah, I just finished my presentation about assessment. I don't know how it went. They seemed kind of bored. I think we might need to go with plan B. Yeah. Oh shoot, is this thing still on?
Oh, really? Oh. Oh, you want to go with plan B? Do we? Okay. I'll do my best. I kind of remember. Okay. I'll let you know how it goes. Talk to you soon. All right, bye.
Shirt change.
Plan B. Thanks, Caitlin. I guess I better call Willen. Let them know we're going to do plan B. I don't even know how to get a hold of Will. Hey, Rod, do you have Will's number?
It's fake.
Oh, so I just have to act like I'm talking to him?
Exactly.
Oh, I can do that. Watch this. Hey, Will. Hey, yeah, it's Pat. Yeah, Caitlin said it didn't go so good. Yeah, we're going to go plan B.
Hey, Pat, what's going on, man? We're plan B? When did we talk about plan B? All right. Okay, I guess we'll have to roll with it then.
Yeah, that other thing we emailed back and forth about. All right, man. Good luck to you too. All right, thanks. Hey, it's Pat, presenting to you from Southeastern Washington about curriculum compacting. Now, Southeastern Washington is known for a few things. We're known for Kellen Moore, college record-setting quarterback at Boise State. He's from Prosser, Washington, a small town not far from here. We're known for wine. A lot of wineries around here. There's some microbrews, too. I wonder if you could combine these into one. Oh, you can't. I remember when I worked at a winery, we always had these around. This is called a wine key. You see, it's got a bottle opener, it's got a foil cutter, it's got a corkscrew, and a cork leverager. All into one thing that fits into your pocket. Very compact. Came across this in my car. I don't even know what this is. I guess it's called a compact disc. Do people even use these anymore, Aaron? I didn't think so. You know what they do use? These. iPods.
Pat, I thought we talked about this. Only one analogy for curriculum compacting. For this little mess up, I'm going to speed you up for this little history spiel you're going to go on, even more so than I just did in this last clip of yours.
You see, CDs fit about 80 minutes of music. These, they fit tens of thousands of music minutes. You can do other things on here, like you can surf the internet, you can play games, you can read books, you can also check on your social media. Pat Tunica likes this. And when I'm talking about social media, if you check on my page, it's got a picture of the Enola Gay. The Enola Gay, you probably know, dropped the first atomic bomb over Hiroshima in World War II. Now that's significant to me because where I coach football in Richland, Washington, there's two high schools. There's Richland High School, home of the Bombers, and our rival, Hanford. Now Hanford is named such because Hanford is where a lot of atomic work went in to making the second bomb, Fat Man. Fat Man was dropped by Boxcar over Nagasaki to help in World War II as well. So you have this creation that fit 21 kilotons of TNT, the power of 21 kilotons, into a device that was about 10,000 kilograms. That's compacting all that power into one, making the mushroom cloud not only a sign of controversy, but a sign or a symbol of compact.
Shirt change.
So even though it was on a compact disc, they still called it a mixtape? Yeah, CD. Yeah, I don't get it. It doesn't matter. People don't use these things anyway. Yeah, I gotta get back to plan B. I'll talk to you soon. All right, bye. So, I was thinking how I could show you what curriculum compacting might look like. And what I came up with was this scenario. Here we have two well-known islands in the United States. We have Puerto Rico, and we have Long Island. Now in Puerto Rico, there's about 4 million people. Okay? On Long Island, A-Rod, do you have a question to ask me about Long Island?
What's the population of Long Island?
Hey, thanks for asking me, A-Rod. It's not a very good question, but thanks for asking anyway. About 7 million people. So curriculum compacting, we have the same amount of information. In this case, we're using a fraction. We have half the amount with half the amount of space with twice the amount of information. Well, how do they do it? Simple. They build more. So they're using less space, and in the classroom this might be time. They're using less time to teach more things. They're not using more time. They're not introducing new things. They are using the same amount of time to use the information in new ways so that all learners have an opportunity to participate in ways that they see fit.
Shirt change. Oh wait, no, never mind.
So I was emailing with the group, trying to come up with the perfect symbol for compacting. And we came up with this, the Leatherman. Everybody has one of these laying around the house because it's about 10 tools that can be folded up or compacted to fit into your pocket. That is brilliant. I gotta call Will and let him know. Hey Will, yeah, I went with the Leatherman. Yeah, hey, I think it worked. I think it went really well. Yeah, hey man, hey, good luck. All right, talk to you soon. Yeah, let me know. Hey, talk to you soon. Bye.
You did what? That is hilarious. A skyscraper, really? Oh, that's awesome, man. No. No, I don't have your Leatherman, I don't think. All right, well, we're gonna roll plan B then. I'll see what I can do on my end, see what kind of stuff I can gather up, and we're gonna make this happen. All right. All right. Talk to you soon, man. Bye.
We thank you for your patience. Will is still thinking.
Golden years, golden Golden years. Golden years. Don't let me.
All right, there's a little intro dance music from David Bowie. I was just jamming out, dancing to that music using this little speaker here. Okay, now I can alter this speaker. I can make this speaker, ideally without breaking it, I can make this speaker more compact. Now the outcome of this speaker, when it was in this state here, was that it had great sound quality and my dance moves were awesome. Let's see if the same outcome occurs when this speaker's in its compact state.
Hear you say life's taking you nowhere. Look at the sky, life's begun. Nights are warm and the days are young. There's no feeling of the soul. What I'm making you see for
Alright, so outcome was pretty much the same, wasn't it? Sound quality was still awesome. My dance moves might have been better that time, but that's for you to be the judge of. I'm a wonderful dancer in my head, best dance moves ever, but that's for you to decide. So, I like to view this speaker as a tool to explain curriculum compacting. A speaker like this represents a curriculum. A speaker like this represents a compact curriculum. The outcome is still the same, but maybe the mode or the way of delivery of that curriculum is just a little bit different. So what does this actually look like in a science, specifically engineering classroom, where we have a curriculum, but maybe we deliver it in a little bit different way and the outcome is still the same for all students? Well, I will be teaching in a Project Lead the Way classroom. And this is my home page. This is the material that I need to get through with my students throughout the entire year. And we can pick any single one of these and we will see a bunch of different activities pop up that students are meant to do to kind of supplement the content that they're going to be learning. Now, before these activities can actually be done, there needs to be some sort of instruction done by me with my students so they understand what these activities are going to be asking them to do. Now, if I find that I have some students that are advanced and that they should be utilizing a compact curriculum, maybe based on a pre-assessment or some sort of diagnostic assessment, whether it's designed by me or it's the one that Project Lead the Way recommends, the instruction that they get is going to be a little bit different than the instruction that the whole class is going to get. What these students in the compact curriculum setting are going to get is they're going to get mini lessons. And what these mini lessons are going to take the form of are video screencasts made by me, the teacher. And these screencasts or these mini lessons, they're going to go through the same content, but they might be a little bit less comprehensive. Fine details might be excluded from these mini lessons, but that is done intentionally because these advanced students can pick these fine details up on their own as they progress through the units, through the activities, with the mini lessons kind of just introducing the topic to them. So that is the first way that a compact curriculum could look in this sense of a Project Lead the Way engineering type classroom. The second thing is that you saw all these activities within these units, and these activities ultimately lead up to a more advanced project. Now, what I would do for those who are utilizing a compact curriculum is that I would actually modify and maybe make these activities and projects a little more advanced. An example of this, and I think this is probably the best example, is in this Unit 6 reverse engineering. This is an awesome unit. that really takes all students outside of their comfort zone. What this unit asks students to do is they actually have to reverse engineer a toy car called the Automoblocks. And the Automoblocks, being a toy car, it is relatively simple, but it does provide a challenge and a very authentic learning experience for most students. However, the students that are utilizing the compact curriculum, I'm going to modify this so that they can actually pick their own item to reverse engineer. Something that's interesting to them, but ideally is going to be more challenging than the Automoblocks car. What this is going to do is, it's going to challenge them and force them out of their comfort zone and hopefully push them on to a greater level of understanding and skill level as it relates to engineering design. So not only will these students be reverse engineering this item, but they will also be doing a product improvement of that item after their reverse engineering. So while the content is still going to be the same for these students to go through, it's just going to be delivered in a little bit of a different way with these mini lessons, and also the way that they're going to apply the content is going to be a little different with the modifications that are in place. But again, this goes back to my little analogy or visual at the beginning. This is the Project Lead the Way curriculum as it is. This is how it's going to be in the compact curriculum way, where the delivery or the look of it's going to be a little different, but the outcome is going to be exactly the same.
Woo! That went awesome. I need to call Pat, tell him how awesome that just went. Plan B is killing it. Hey, Pat, what's going on, man? Yeah. We're going to go on Plan B. No, I did find my Leatherman. Still haven't found yours yet. All right, take it easy. Bye.
Really? Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll go with it. Okay, Caitlin. Hey, thanks. I'm sure you did great. All right, man. Hey, I don't get. Caitlin says I can fit all of this onto this.
Exactly.
Okay, watch. You just can't do it.
Whoa. All the information goes inside the thumb drive.
Oh, so I can compact it down.
Yes.
And then give the information to somebody.
Yes.
Oh, good, because people don't use these anyway. All right. So what we're going to talk about is a trip to the World War I museum that I did when I visited Kansas City. At the World War I museum, they had all this type of stuff, and that's like teaching World War I to students in 10th grade. So World War I, you have the traditional curriculum. Okay, all students are expected to know this by the end. But some students come in, they have prior knowledge, they find it interesting, it's relevant to them for some reason, and they have the academic skills. So that part of it has already been compacted down. But they want to know more, for example, about the battles. But you don't want to give them additional information. You don't want to cause higher level of anxieties. So you give them the same information, but you have them use it in new ways. For example, rank these battles in the top 5, 1 to 5. 1 being the most significant, 5 being to the least significant. The Somme, Verdun, Marne, Ypres, and Château-Thierry. They have to take that information, they have to analyze it in new ways and rank it 1 to 5 and explain briefly why. Okay? Sure, they mastered it. Roughly the same amount of space, but they're using it in new ways. Okay? Or they may want to know more about the people involved in World War I. For example, take Franklin D. Roosevelt, Winston Churchill, and Adolf Hitler. Not Nixon, Joseph Stalin. How did World War I affect them? What did they do before? What did they do during? And what did they do after the Great War? They take that information and they create a trifold in order to compare and contrast. Again, we're not giving them more information. We're not expecting them to do exactly more. We're just saying, hey, you have the information everybody else does. Just use it in new ways. Okay? So that might be somebody who wants to know more about the people. You're talking about the human experience. Okay? You may want people to look at art. You want them to maybe look poetry, visual arts, performing arts. You may want to have them look at propaganda. Take a look at all of those things, perhaps create their own representation of visual arts, or create a presentation of their top 5 favorite visual arts, explaining why they're so significant to them. Okay, I know for me one of them would definitely be included is Dulce et Decorum Est. I love that poem. Okay, and they may want to focus on innovation. Okay, so you have innovation. For example, explain to me how World War I compares to Napoleonic War, or how did industrialization impact new machines that were used during World War I. So students may want to use all of these, but then you look at that and say, wait a second, you're expecting them to do more. Well, no, you're not, because all of this is compacted. They want to know more about the people. That's fine. It's compacted. They have that. They want to know more about the battles. That's fine. Just using the same information in new ways. They have that. Okay? Innovation. They have all the information about industrialization and imperialism. And finally, the human experience. You don't have to include that in your classroom one way or another. So you're giving them an opportunity to use the information in new ways, and it's using roughly the same amount of space. That's compacting the curriculum in a traditional World War I unit in world history.
Ring, ring, ring.
No, Pat, I don't need a Leatherman. I bought one yesterday. You're right, it really is a compact tool. It kind of reminds me of... Never mind, people don't use CDs anymore. Anyway, I gotta go. I was just working on a curriculum compacting for my own classroom in middle school, and I'd like to share it with everyone. Alrighty, bye. Alright, so here's an example of how I would use curriculum compacting in my classroom. I teach 6th grade science, and the topic I use as my example is the water cycle, because I often find that my 6th grade students either really went over the water cycle in elementary school and generally have a good understanding of it, or it's a new topic to them. So it's a perfect unit for compacting. First thing I would want to do is identify my objectives, what I want the students to know. So the really important information is that water can be solid, liquid, or gas, and I would want examples of each of those. And I want them to understand that water cycles throughout the earth, changing into those forms. A misconception that I often see is that water can be added or taken away from the earth, but really I want them to understand that it just changes forms as it cycles throughout the earth. I've also identified essential vocabulary that I would want the students to be able to use by the end of the unit. Once I've got my objectives, I've thought through how I would use a pre-assessment. So, something that would be really easy is just a quick write where I ask them what are the different forms that water can come in and how do they change forms. I would allow them to use a drawing or a list or an essay or a combination of all three. This question I feel would give me a pretty good idea of what they do and don't know about the water cycle. Since in science it's very important that we all use common vocabulary, I would do whole instruction with Cornell notes. So I would have everyone take these Cornell notes so that we can all use the same vocabulary. When I do Cornell notes, I have the students the next day go through and write their own questions. These questions are not questions that they have, but questions that they maybe could see on a test. Often my more advanced students will use higher level questions. I also have students write out a summary. This summary I would also use as a pre-assessment so I could see them using the vocabulary and to see if they completely understand it. And then I would have them create Quizlet sets over the vocabulary. So if I would decide if a student needs compacting, and if they feel that they understand, I would let them decide if they needed more practice or not. They would show me their pre-assessment quick write, and I would have them show me their Cornell note summary. Between those two things, I would be able to tell if they've understood the water cycle, and they could move on to alternative assignments. We'll discuss those alternative assignments in the next slide. For my students that need more practice, I have a water cycle lab and a lab report, pictured here, that they would complete. I also have a water cycle simulation from the Geological Society that they can complete and answer questions. And then a water cycle foldable where they can again practice the vocabulary and show that water cycles. So for my compacted students, I have some ideas for alternative assignments. They already understand they don't need to complete the lab and the simulation, they can just move on to the practice portion. Some ideas I have are water cycle cartoons. They could design their own labs. They could also design and teach their own lesson. They could do their own research project about the water problems that we face in our world, such as acid rain and droughts, things like that. Or if they want to design their own assignment, they could run that over with me. The way I see this working in my classroom is that students will be working at their own pace. So they could do a water cycle cartoon, and if they finish that, then they could do their own lab. Even my general students who needed more practice, maybe after the lab, if they feel like they understand, they could move on. So I see some of my students maybe completing 1 or 2 assignments, and maybe some of my students completing more. So with grading, I don't want to grade all of those artifacts because that would just be too much, especially because I have 150 plus students. So after they've completed their unit, I would have them present all of their artifacts to their group. Their group would then help them figure out which artifact was the best or which one that they showed the most understanding, and I would only have the students turn in 1 of their artifacts, so maybe just the foldable or just their cartoon. I would have a general rubric that would include essential vocabulary and that they've showed me that they understand that water cycles throughout the earth. Then I could only grade 1 artifact and use that as their assessment grade. All right, hopefully this example helps you understand middle school science and how you could use compacting. And now the Leatherman is in your hands. Good luck and rock chalk.